hope to master the skill of being able to make art and art history and cultural history fun and interesting, engaging, so that when my students leave my class and go on to college and life, that they will have gained, they will remember their experience, and they'll, when they go to a museum or an art gallery, or they think about making art, they'll be like, oh, I remember Vedder in that class, and like, I think I could do this, or oh, I remember that thing about Picasso, I'm kind of interested, I think I'm going to go into that museum and check that out, because I kind of remember some of that. And just to have a little bit of passion to take time for finding meaning in life. If I can contribute a small amount of that in some students' lives, that would be a big win. That would be the most important thing. My parents have been really, really good parents in the sense that I think they've when I really wanted to do something, they've always supported me, even as I'm 44 now. And even now, you know, my parents are both still alive, fortunately, and they still do support what I do, and they encourage me, and that's really been important in my life. They've supported me, but they've never understood it. They look at my art, they look at my teaching, they look, and they don't get it at all. And no one in my family does.
Does that bother you that they don't understand?
I gave up letting it bother me a long time ago. I was just born into a family that didn't get art, and they don't go to live music, they don't go to art gallery, it's just not on the radar for them. And so that was very, very hard for me to grow up in that kind of context. I can't even tell you how difficult that was, because I thought I was like a freak, I thought I was an alien, I thought I was just defective, because I wasn't interested in the things my family was interested in, which was banking, business, starting your own business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think my family still thinks I'm a little bit crazy, a little bit out there. They really do. They just, they see the stuff in my gallery, they come up and visit, and they go into my art studio, and they're just like, why do you do this? Like, why do you spend so much time here? How do you make a lot of money? No, I don't make a lot of money. It just doesn't add up to them. It's so weird. And yeah, they're supportive, but it's you know, you don't choose the family you're born into. It would be nice if you could. I would love to have been born to some artists and writers or something. That would have been really fun, but I wasn't. So kind of in my later life, I've done what I wished I could have done as a young person, in a sense. I've kind of started over almost. Well, I've been to 34 countries now, so I have encountered a lot of different cultures. And wow, different cultures are so different, and there's good things about every culture. You know, almost every place I've been on the planet is more friendly than the US. More accepting, more generous, more, not necessarily more open-minded, but more hospitable, much more hospitality. Arab culture in the Middle East is, I have been all over the world, especially in the Middle East and Africa. People just, you end up in everybody's living room, having tea, having food, having dinner, meeting all the family members. When I was in Lebanon and Syria and Egypt, people would just pull me into their house. Oh, have a seat. They start, all these other family members come to meet you and see, I've got an American in my house, and they all want to meet you. Things like that I don't think happen in the US. You don't just, we're very afraid in this culture. We're very afraid of foreigners. We were just talking about this in class, right? We're very afraid of people who are different from us. We're very threatened. We're like, well, what if that person like comes into my house and steals something or murders me? I mean, I don't know why we're so paranoid in our culture, but compared to, I think, a lot of the people I've met in the world, for this one reason, I think it's actually very simple. We are so stinking wealthy. The more you have, the more paranoid you are about losing it. That's what it all comes down to. We think we're so blessed in this country because we have so much material stuff, and it's more of a curse than it is a blessing. When I was in Africa, I was in some poor countries, Malawi, and Botswana and Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe. These are desperately poor countries, but most everyone's poor. You're living day to day, you're growing your own food, you have nothing. You have a house that's built out of sticks and mud with a thatched roof. You have a little gas stove, if that. You probably just cook on a fire thing. You just have nothing, and yet it's not just a stereotype of Africans. People are so joyous. They have a type of joy that Americans don't have. You know, we tend to be kind of depressed and introspective and like, why isn't my life what I thought it was going to be? Why isn't my life what the TV says it should be? Why isn't my life as great as the movie stars? And it's a whole different reality when you're in a really poor country. And I think some of you guys have seen that more than a lot of white people here, because you guys have been to poor parts of Mexico, so you know what I'm talking about. It's a real ironic thing that all the things that we think are going to bring us happiness really don't. And I didn't really realize that till I traveled. And that's the big lesson I got from travel was the poorer you get, generally, the more generous you get, the more open you get, the more kind you get, and the less threatened you are by other people.
My name is Juliana Rodriguez.
My name is Brian Sarazo.
My name is Alan Patino.
My name is Luis Gonzalez.